and welcome to another fabulous installation of Scott's 5-minute car reviews. With the massive success of my previous one, over 100 views, I thought we'd do another one. This is our beautiful 2017 Citroën Grand C4 Picasso, which has been our faithful family transport for the last 5 years. And today it's going away. We're getting a new car. But let's have a quick look at this and I'll tell you some of the things that were good about it and some of the things that are not so good about it. So we'll start with what it looks like. We like it. It looks quite fancy. Even now that they don't make them anymore, I quite like the look of it. It's quite contemporary and quite fabulous. However, they're not very sturdy. It's a little bit fragile. You can see, come over here, all the wheels were curbed by the previous owner, so they're a bit of a mess. And all the paint's coming away here. And that's happened on the other side too. So that's not so good. And this is the third one of these that we've had, and one of the previous ones had the same problem. Paint bubbling all over the place. So that's not so great. Another thing I like is, unlike other cars, the rear doors are bigger than the front doors. So the access is amazing. Getting in and out of the back. It's fantastic. Another thing that's brilliant about cars like this is that the boots. Fabulous. This one has had new struts because the old ones stopped working, and so now they don't quite fit. It doesn't quite go all the way up. But the boot itself is huge. You can get a number of fully grown humans in the back. That's without putting the seats down. Put the seats down and it's like a van. It's fantastic. And all the seats move and fold individually. That's also brilliant. And it's a completely flat floor once you do it, so it's like a van. It also has secret pop-up seats for when you have to carry other people's children as well as your own. This one's a bit crusty in places, and that's because under there's a wee hole, and that's where you put your AdBlue. It's the least accessible place they could have put it, and I always end up spilling it. So you end up with crusty mess all over the place. What else can we say that's good? In the back you've got 3 individual seats, and each one of these can slide forwards and backwards individually. And you can also recline them ever so slightly. A bit more easily than that usually. And also, you can access the rear seats like so. This is a bit of a pain though, because when you folded the seats, the seat belt disappears around the back of here. Not ideal. Loads of space in there. More spilt AdBlue all over the place. And you've got these little cubbies for hiding sweeties or something. Aeroplane trays. Picnic tables, whatever you want to call them. One thing that's not so great in the back of these cars is the storage. There's a lovely wee net on the back of here, and there's the things under the floor, but in the doors, the door pockets are tiny. You can't really get a cup in there, or a bottle. You can slide a bottle in, but you couldn't have a cup. And there's a little cup holder here, but it's very shallow. Not the best. There's your ventilation. move to the front. Here in the front is another mixed bag. Fabulous, lots of space, it's very airy. A huge window that comes up here, panoramic, and you can block the sun out by doing that if you want, or if it's Britain you can do that and get more sunshine in. Lovely massive sunglasses. They can go in your huge dooket. A dooket, for those of you who don't know, is a space where you store things. There's a lovely big space there. These cup holders though, these are the only two cup holders in the front of the car, and they are rubbish. They're very close together, they're not very big, they're full of goo. So you can't even get two coffee cups from a coffee shop sitting together in there. It's really difficult. Other than that though, it's all great. And this actually comes out. Look at that. If you want it, brilliant. There's another space for putting things here, and you've got your USB and your USB and a 12 volt thing. It's great, and there's a glove box here that's only big enough for these because French. And again, it suffers from the same problem with the door pockets. They're a bit bigger in the front, but they're not terribly well shaped, so you can get a lot of stuff in, but bottles and cups will fall around all over the place. Steering wheel is a steering wheel with buttons on it. Your gear selector's up here, which I think is very sensible, rather than having it down here where you don't need it. It's automatic, so it's all up there. And all digital display, so it's not just your Audis and whatnot. Oh, and there's your engine management problems. Everything's done through the touch screen here. There's no separate climate controls and that kind of thing, but it's all controlled here. Switch that off because it's really noisy. And you've got your sat nav, and you've got your music, and you've got your things for controlling, setting up the car, and your phone controls. And it also has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, etc, etc. Brilliant. And your sat nav can be displayed, pressing the wrong button, can also be displayed up there, so you don't have to look down the way. Graphics are a little bit dated, they're not terribly fancy, but you've got to remember this car is 5 years old, and it's a design that's been on the go for 7, 8, 10 years. It's quite fancy, I think. Anyway, let's take it for a quick spin. Okay, so let's take it out on the road. Drive is engaged. And off we go. So, how does it drive? Well, it drives really well, I think. There's oh wow, it's rush hour here in rural Scotland.
2 cars, that's
I know.
3 hours work.
So off we go. I think it drives quite well. Since we had the new suspension put on at the front, it maybe feels a little firmer and a little more skittish than it used to. And it's not the most dynamic car, so if you're looking for a car to throw around on a B road, this isn't the car for you. But that's not what it's designed for. It's quite a tall people carrier, so it's for lugging families and luggage and whatever else the families come with, dogs and cases and whatnot, over many, many miles. And we've done a lot of that in this car. It's been fabulous. But as I said before, it's a little bit fragile, and I think this is our third one, and each one of them seems to want to fall apart around the 100,000 miles mark. This one, unfortunately, the drive belt snapped before it was due to be changed on the service schedule. So we've ended up with a different engine in it, and ever since then we've had nothing but bother. And that's part of the reason why this is the last day that we have owning this car. It's gone away We've tried to get it fixed. There's still a service light up on the dashboard. I could bore you to death about what it's all about, but long and short of it is that nobody's been able to actually fix it. So we've taken the plunge and we've traded it in against something else. But it's a perfectly lovely car. We've done many, many thousands of miles in it. We regularly make a 1,000 mile trip in it, non-stop trip, and it's been perfectly comfortable. It's got massaging seats, would you believe? Massaging seats. Never mind your fancy German vehicles. I've got sat-nav on my dashboard, I've got massaging seats. It's got Bluetooth, it's got all the things, it's got air conditioning. What more do you want? It's got windscreen wipers that work. Fabulous. That's all you need, isn't it? It's grand. So the last thing that we're going to do is, because we can, we're going to do a 0 to 60. So that's us at the village, and we've come out of the 20 mile an hour and we're just coming into the 60 mile an hour, so it's slightly up a hill. So let's just stop and let's give this a go. Let's see. Oh, that was a bit harsh, sorry.
Wow.
Right, you ready? I was doing it with the wrong foot. Let's give it a go. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go! This is uphill, mind. And there you have it, 60 miles an hour. It's not a sports car, it's not designed for it, but it's fine.
That was pretty quick, actually.
Yeah. I think the official figure is somewhere just north of 11 seconds, 0 to 60. And it's fine. 1.6 litre turbo diesel does the job. You won't want to be overtaking too many people when you get stuck behind a tractor in a queue of traffic on a single lane A road, but it's not bad. It's all right.
Where are we going now? Are you going that way?
I'm just going to go back to the roundabout.
Okay. You're going to do 0 to 60 again?
No, I'm not going to do 0 to 60. Well, I might do. Yeah, this is us joining the A1. Get a bit of foot to the floor. It's not the most evocative noise, I suppose, a 4-cylinder diesel engine, but that's us sitting at cruising speed on the A1. It's quite quiet, it's quite comfortable. This is what it's designed for. This, with lots of kids in the back fighting over who knows what, Skittles and access to Netflix. Don't know, not like when I were a lad. But there you have it, the Citroën Grand C4 Picasso. You're welcome.